What's up, everybody? I'm going to start today talking about a message that was channeled to me through an interdimensional extraterrestrial entity called Ryok, and he gave me a message. So that's where we're going to start today, and then which is really relevant to the concept of how we view reality, if you're wondering what it has to do with. And then beyond from there, if you guys have any questions for me regarding perception of reality or even reality creation, definitely drop them in the question box. I actually just grabbed this 1 second before getting on here, so hopefully this comes off. It does. So we're going to be going over a message, and it had to do with empowering ourselves. So I'm going to write this down and we can talk about line by line and definitely ask questions if you guys have any. There's a question box below. So the first line of this is the same species as Bashar. If you guys know who Bashar is, this is the same species of entity as Bashar. It's just not Bashar. It's another one. Let's say it's Bashar's cousin called Ryok. So the way that it's kind of like a poem of empowerment. So I'm going to write it down. The first sentence is, I awaken. Can you guys see this? Yes, you can. Hopefully it's not mirrored. It is mirrored. How do we unmirror this on IG? We would have to do something like, well, I'm not going to be able to see. Well, I guess I just don't have to do it. So I'll just tell it to you. Does that make sense to do? Hey guys, is this mirrored? Let me know. Let me know in the chat if this is mirrored. It says I awaken, but if it's unreadable to you, then it's no point in me. Your reality is a mirror. Exactly. Exactly. But I just need a yes or no so that I know whether I proceed with the whiteboard or not. Yes, it's mirrored, meaning you cannot read it, correct? I don't think there's a way for me to undo this. Should I just go forward with it mirrored? You need to turn your phone on. I know, but then I can't see the all right, I'm going to do it. Then we can't really see I can't see the chat. There we go. All right. I'll just do this entire section without the chat. So I awaken my inner ascended self. So that's the first line of this. Just want to see that's all in view. Good. So if we just take this word for word, I awaken my inner, so inside, ascended, meaning whatever you feel you are, what is the greater version of that? So we also didn't talk about the word I and the word awaken, but basically every single word in this poem to self is something that you can extrapolate on. So ascended essentially means ascended, and we all have different definitions of that. For myself, it means greater. It means a greater concept. So I think of myself as a cell of a greater organism, just like my skin cell eats, excretes, has a motivation to live, has motivation to stay safe. It feels some sort of destiny or job to fulfill. And that cell has, it is an aspect of me. And I'm the grander organized version of many of these cells, all which have their own perspective of life. So I view myself as an aspect of something greater. And so when that cell feels like it needs something, the greater self feels pain. And I look down and I'm like, hey, what's going on with my liver? Because my liver cell is sending a prayer up to me, which is the same thing that we do when we pray up to our ascended self. And so awakening my inner ascended self means that we're able to feel that connection. The next line, that recognizes. So recognition means to re-know the illusory nature of it's really of the physical reality, but I left out the word the. So that recognizes the illusory nature of physical reality. So once again, we don't have to believe this, but this is a message that was channeled to me. I believe it was from a guy named Tyler, and he was channeling Ryok. I awaken my inner ascended self that recognizes the illusory nature of physical reality, of the physical reality. I'll just say exactly. So is reality an illusion? You don't have to take that perspective on a day-to-day level, but are we able to have a different perspective? For me, it's gained perspective when we gain perspective. So think about how satellites work. One satellite cannot track your position on Earth. Let's just take Earth. We don't have to talk about whether it's a globe or a flat or hollow or an illusion, but let's just say there is a satellite somewhere outside the dimension of the ground of Earth, and one satellite can't track your location. It can track, either horizontal or further away. But you add two on, and now you can track where you are horizontally fixated towards both satellites and vertically based on those two perspectives looking down at the plane of Earth. And if you add a third satellite, you can then add another dimension, and you can actually start seeing exactly where one is located on the surface of Earth. And it's called triangulation. And so with multiple perspectives, you can, I said that wrong. Basically, a satellite can determine how far you are away from itself. And so if you have two of them, explaining that science isn't really necessary, but with three satellites, you can see the location. With two, you cannot. With one, you cannot. So the multiple perspectives gives us more clarity on what we're doing here, more clarity on life. And so the ask here to participate in this exercise is to not determine whether this message is true or false. It's to gain another perspective and to integrate the message. Because we do that with fiction movies. We do that with things that our parents said versus our friends said versus what our teachers said versus what our mentors said versus what we think about ourselves. All of those could be wrong, but the multiple perspectives is what allows us to triangulate on our own concept of what we're doing here. Okay, again, and then it defines what I is as my ascended master self. Perceive physical, just trying to see if I can actually fit this all in here. perceive physical experience as a loving projection of my own imagination. As a loving projection of my own I, as my ascended master self, perceive physical reality, the physical experience. This is supposed to say experience. So our experience of physical reality as a loving projection of my imagination. Do we get that? Our experience of life is a projection. It's a mirror, as someone was saying earlier, a mirror of our own imagination, our own concept. I forget who. Oh, it's right there. Somebody. Was it Wayne Dyer? I think it was Wayne Dyer. And he was saying, he had an orange in his hand. And he said, if I squeeze this orange, what's going to come out of it? And he said, everyone's like, orange juice, right? So he squeezed the orange. He said, no matter how hard I squeeze the orange, never is there going to be apple juice that comes out of it. Why? Because inside of the orange is orange juice. So it's what's inside is what comes out. And he said it's the same thing with when we get squeezed by life. If we get squeezed by life, people say things to us, and what comes out is anger. It's not necessarily the external environment that's causing that anger, because that anger is within you. And that's just how experience works. We are not experiencing what we think we're experiencing. Our eyes, our ears, our senses are bringing in data in the form of essentially measurements of frequency. And then inside of us, our mind is translating it into colors and shapes and perceptions. That gives us the perception of what's really happening, which is the filter of our program. Why is loving in there? The loving projection. I feel that that's because that's the totality. Love essentially is the full spectrum. And so the ascended master self would perceive physical reality from a loving manner. And it's your own imagination. It's nobody else's. Let's go into imagination a little bit more. I understand that my imagination is connected to my spirit. I understand that my imagination is connected to my spirit, which is taking that same concept of inner self, and then now we're expanding it. What is your spirit? This word spirit is the same etymology. It comes from the same root as inspire. So spirit literally means, when you look up spirit, what does spirit means? It means breath. And breath sometimes gets translated from prana in the East, which is life force. And prana isn't necessarily in and only in breath, but we take in breath and we can extract, we can merge with our spirit through breath. Think about it. the first thing that happens when you emerge into this physical reality is you take a breath. And then the last thing that happens when you leave this physical reality is what? What do they say when people die? They took their last breath. And so our imagination is connected to this other thing that we're taking in with breath. And for me, again, it's about expanding our concept of self. We usually think about self from skin in. Are we able to expand that concept of self and realize that, yeah, I can't live here without my blood or my brain or my heart, and that's all within my skin, but I also am unable to participate in this reality without the breath, without the other people, without the food, the light, the minerals, the earth, without experience itself. And my imagination allows me to connect with all of that because there is no filter. And just to go on a little tangent with imagination, imagination is another dimension. It's another density. You can say dimension of self. Imagination transcends time and space. This physical reality has limits. The illusory nature of physical reality, it has limits. We're not able to just make and create in this physical reality. If I wanted a red helicopter right here on my roof down here, if wanted is a good word, actually. If I wanted a red helicopter right there, it wouldn't happen. Or at least it would take a long time for me to create in physical reality a red helicopter. It would take a lot. However, I can imagine that immediately. Immediately, I can transcend time and space in the imagination, which we all have access to, and red helicopters there. The imagination is what happens first. That is linked to a reality of, let's say, our desires in this case, red helicopter. Why would a helicopter even be red? I don't know. Red helicopter, that's just what came to me. That's what the desire was. Right here on the new helicopter pad. The imagination can transcend time and space that way. And those that are able to really tap into the imagination are the creators. However, we're programmed that just means you create art, you create music. Go ahead and do that. It doesn't interrupt anything. But those that rule society also create. They create civilizations. They create influence. They create a lot with their imagination. Anything that is in existence, if you guys look around wherever you are, it was imagined first. If you look at man-made items, you go into nature, who is that imagined from? That's where the concept of a creator comes into play. Connected to my spirit. And I now, at this time, awaken, there's that word again. That word is so when you say the word spiritual, usually people associate that with things of a religious nature and sometimes anti-science, right? But I just defined what spirit was. Spirit is breath. Spirit, And what we're taught breath is oxygen and maybe some carbon dioxide and nitrogen and other air molecules, gas molecules that are in the air, and probably some can I say that on here? I don't want to get shadow banned, but some things that are being dropped out of airplanes, which I don't know if it's happening today. It was super windy the last few days. Spiritual is nothing woo-woo. Spiritual is breath. And then your awareness of what that breath is connecting you to is something that is determined by you. I now at this time awaken the spiritual awareness within me. That means that you're aware of what is breathing you. You are an apparatus that is breathing. You are an organization of cells that is having a life experience. Why? That's what this sentence means. Why? That's up for you. You're becoming awaken to why. This time, awaken the spiritual awareness within me that allows for me to more easily, more lucidly, more passionately, I don't know if I spelled that right, access my imagination. You guys can see that there's themes that keep on happening. There's that word imagination again. Why would it need to be easier, more lucid, which again means awaken, aware, lucid dreaming, you're aware, you're conscious while you're dreaming. So we wake up within the dream, within the illusion. And why? Because we're becoming aware of what we're breathing or what is breathing into us that allows us to easier imagination, more passionate imagination, and more awakened imagination. And then here's the final line. So I may learn to live as my spirit self, the thing that we're breathing. And then it ends with that. So the whole thing is about awakening. It's about breathing, recognizing what breath is, recognizing what spirit is, taking ownership of that, realizing that it's an illusion, it's something that we're perceiving, and that the imagination, access my imagination, understand that my imagination is connected to my spirit. Lucidly, passionately, easily, imagination to learn to live as my spirit self. It's cool stuff because it puts context of what imagination is. It's definitely not fake. So this poem puts imagination as the greater reality of self. It is what happens before reality, as I was just talking about with the red helicopter. How is this not coming off? So if you guys imagine that there's different realms. So this is physical reality. And this right here is rainbows and butterflies. And this is the imagination. Can't really see that. There's the imagination. And then there's coming down into the imagination, desires. So desire, desidere, is where the word desire comes from. So desire is coming down and it's pinging you and you're getting thoughts and you're like ping and you imagine desires. And knowing the difference between a desire and the ego, which is fixated on survival and avoiding fear, the ego wants, and want means to lack. And so recognizing the desires that are filtering in your imagination so that then you can create that into physical reality, as opposed to looking at the already formed physical reality and trying to rearrange the already formed physical reality. The thing about the already formed physical reality is that it's already formed. And we actually have greater access to create from an unmanifested state than we do to rearrange the already manifested state. The rearrangement of the already manifested state is difficult because it's already physical. It's already here. What is unmanifest, to take that and all of that power, we'll call it power. What other word could we use? All of the momentum, and bring it into physical reality. So it's very important for us to recognize the illusory nature of physical reality and realize that what is being breathed into us, the channels from above that's bringing us life force. Where are you feeling passionate? Where are you feeling satisfaction? Where are you feeling purpose? Connect to that, connect to the spirit, and realize that it's within this imagination that is what you are here to do. And that's kind of what poem says to me this next time I reviewed it. So those of you guys who asked to come live with me, just let me know in the chat what you desire to talk about, and I'll pick one of you. And then someone's asking me about Daryl Anka, if he's 100% authentic channeling. Once again, I don't find that question entertaining. It's not, that's not where the focus of my mind goes. And it might be because I'm a Libra, right? So for me, and you guys just take this as from me, right? You don't have to be this way, but for me, it's absolutely not important to determine if something is true or not. For me, this is like my way of looking at things. In fact, I feel that everything is a perspective, and true or false doesn't matter. It's a perspective. And just like every single person, every single experience, every single event that's ever happened is happening for a reason, if you guys come across some knowledge, it's there for a reason for you. What does that mean? I just take you back to the triangulation sample. It doesn't necessarily mean that you just do and believe everything. A lot of it is there for a lesson, of maybe what not to do. All right. I'm reading comments now. There is no truth other than how you may feel in that moment, and that moment won't ever be again. What is that saying that the opposite of, I don't remember the exact words, the opposite of a minimal, small, the opposite of a small truth is a lie, but the opposite of a profound truth is another profound truth. When you get to the top of some mountaintops, you realize that like it's a complete paradox. The things that we feel as profound are a paradox to what we otherwise know. And there's many things that are true that completely contradict each other. I'm asking some people to come live.
Oh my God.
Talk to me.
Hello.
What's up?
Hey.
Are you working right now?
No. I'm at my countryside and I was staying without lights, doing some raw milk with cacao.
Yeah?
Yeah, in Romania.
Yeah.
I was listening to you from the beginning, and I didn't get it with. You got a channel message from Sasani, from what Bashar said it is are.
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah, the Asani tribe or whatever.
It's Asani or Sasani?
I don't know. I'm second guessing myself. I think it's Asani.
Bashar thought it's Sasani.
Okay.
Maybe Asani. Yeah, interesting. I was following you when you talked about Mount Shasta and your experience there.
Mm-hmm.
We have in Romania a woman that made a pranic festival here and an online pranic festival, kind of with people from all around the world. And it was there a man that was on the Mount Shasta also, and he was with a group, and then he was climbing. Especially, he knew the thing from the mountain and things, and then he split it, like he go on another way. He stayed he found a place. He stayed on a rock, kind of on a big rock. He stayed with the back on the rock, and he took out his backpack and did his things. I don't know, water, blah blah blah. And when he bended a little bit in the front, when he got back to stay on the rock, he was falling in the back, and then he saw a tunnel, and he explained how it was a light in the end of it, and he turned and he got, and then the being, the nice blonde, tall, blue-eyed being, took him and present him the floors, the council with the crystals and things, and I was, and then I heard your story, and that's why I told you. I don't know if you remember. I asked you if you are allowed to say that type of information because I remember that the man was told, like, he asked if he can speak, and they said yes. That's why we took you, and that's why this happened. And it was very, very interesting for me because here in Romania are again some mysteries and some nice energies and the things and everything is linked with Egypt, with Iraq. It's a full story here. Maybe we dig into it at some moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about advanced civilizations, it living on the surface of this plane Earth would be a very difficult place to survive. Cataclysms and solar flares, and eventually, if the civilization got advanced enough, they would figure out how to live within in a subterranean center, like which is uh, said to be underneath places like Mount Shasta and the
Uh,
the Himalayas, and it looks like you're trying to go underground right now with that headlamp to go find some tunnels.
why not? I'm close to them. I feel them.
Yeah,
And some beings are watching me also sometimes from the sky.
yeah. Well, that's where up and down is probably just a fiction that we make up. From their perspective, it doesn't really exist.
Like heaven on earth, have hell on earth, but it's like we bring heaven to earth, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. Any questions or no?
I think I'm okay. Like if you're okay, I'm okay. I'm glad that we could speak and put some energy here. No questions. I'm in a complete rediscovery of myself for 6 months, 8 months, but it started almost 2 years ago, and I think I'm at the peak zone soon or now. I don't know exactly, and I do not have questions yet, but I will have.
Okay. Keep it
I
up.
need.
All right. Take care.
Andra, thank you so much, and blessings to Human Garage team.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. We received that.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Take care. I don't know how to actually kick you off, but that'll be up to you. Romania. So he was talking about Mount Shasta. I don't know if I told the story on here about me going underneath the mountain. That was after like 8 days of meditating. So I think that took place in a non-physical way. I know my physical body was laying down pretty much unconscious with a group of people meditating underneath the Pandora star light, and another part of me went inside the mountain. And then we went back and lived there, my wife and I, for a year. And Mount Shasta is an amazing place. Mount Shasta is the root chakra of the planet. Mount Shasta, there's stories forever of Lemurian beings visiting people in Mount Shasta. So there's plenty of books written about this. There's Saint Germain. A lot of people see Saint Germain walking around Mount Shasta. Guys, someone's asking me to show the board, but I already erased it and did something else. So you can get the recording on this. And once again, it's not anything that I'm saying we need to believe. It's just another perspective. It's I asked what I needed to hear in that moment, and that was what was told to me. So I'm sharing it with you. And then I'm also sharing my interpretation of that. I feel that our imagination is what carries us, it's what allows us to develop even things like morals and goals and targets. And our imagination, you hear people talk about the third eye. Think about like that's back to triangulation, right? We have our two eyes, which are seeing length, width, height, depth in this physical reality. And then we have our imagination, which is our pineal gland, and that's what's active when we're dreaming. So that's where that light comes from. And that light is channeled in through our melanin in our hair, our skin, and our eyes. And the images that even when we're daydreaming are coming from this same center. And then our body is acting on it. I mean, our mind is processing it, our emotions then feel it, and then give our active body the motivation to act on what this imagination is conjuring up for us. I've been trying the 28-day reset, but I still can't seem to feel my muscles engaged. I want to do the exercises again, 100 push-ups. Guys, 28 days is a start. For me, when I started doing the fascial maneuvers and I went and I visited the Human Garage team, and I was already friends with Gary, but I met Jason and Cynthia, Aisha for the first time. And I heard Jason say that even him doing the fascial maneuvers, it started really working or opening him up or him getting more aware at 6 months. And before that moment, I was just kind of doing them every few days. And when I heard him say that it took him 6 months, then I thought to myself, actually, it would take me 6 months to get good at anything or to gain a enhanced awareness at anything, whether it's a sport, a new language, a musical instrument, a new way of thinking and being. It's a daily thing over and over and over. A month is just to develop the habit. Actually, I mean, we say 90 days really, but a month is a full lunar cycle. So you go through the full cycles of energies. The second month, maybe you get into it a little bit more. The third month, you're starting to feel it. Now it's actually starting to reprogram your body as your cells are all being recalibrated. Our cells are continuously renewing themselves. And when they renew to a new behavior that you're doing, like fascial maneuvers, then they get born into a new body and then become part of your body underneath the program of the maneuvers. And the maneuvers to me are a lot like the kriyas that I do. I've got kriyas, and my program is called Kriya of the Week. And the reason why it was called Kriya of the Week is so that you do the same Kriya for 7 days. And during those 7 days, the Kriya stays the same. And your life is happening around the energy of the Kriya. And the signature of the Kriya, the intended energetic impact of the Kriya, is going to stay with you for about 24 hours. And then you re-up that energetic signature so that you're now perceiving life from the lens of that Kriya. And it's the same thing with the fascia maneuvers. Do it every single day. And even when you're doing the organ reset and you're saying the affirmations, that is going to change your perception of reality, and it'll most definitely change your physical body. And it's going to, from a more tangible sense, change your awareness of your physical body. The commenter was talking about not being able to oh, and here's another comment. So then then you people are saying like it depends on how much is stored in your body. Yeah, it does. He wants to exercise again and do 100 push-ups, 100 leg raises like the freak athlete I once was. Why? I was also a freak athlete. That was an amazing chapter, but I'm not trying to hold on to that chapter. Imagine, which we all do, right? Like, imagine, which the reason why we don't go much into this imagination is because we know it's not possible, but imagine being 6 years old again. 6 years old. No worries, laughing, freedom, endless energy, can fall and hurt yourself and be healed in literally like a day. it's an amazing time. But we're not holding on to that because that was a time where we learned lessons, and that's what makes us up now. And so, me, somebody who was a professional athlete, my body could do anything, anything. That was a chapter in my life. And now, through me overexerting myself and injuring myself, and I was blessed with a body that doesn't have the capacity that I once used to have. I could spend the rest of my life like just longing for the days that I could rep out 225 over my head, that I could run a, 5-minute mile, that I could squat close to 400 pounds, that I could snatch 250 pounds, that I would do 100 burpees as a warm up, that I could show up to competitions and win $100,000 for being, the fittest person there. Super fun and amazing. And in those moments, I was cherishing them. And now I'm somewhere else. And so I know the person commenting didn't exactly say this, but let's make sure that we're not closing our eyes to the opportunities of now when we're not who we once were. A lot of times we get pivoted. Here, I'll give you an example. I was just thinking about this morning. I've met a lot of people that were at the height of their physical career, the height of just career in general. One person was like top in like Hollywood. One person was that I know was top, like in terms of like being a gymnast. Another person that I know was like a top extreme athlete. All three of these people that I'm thinking of, one of them got paralyzed from the chest down, complete paralyzed. Another one lost a leg. Another one, car hit him and he had both of his legs amputated. These people learned from my limited perspective of their own life, all right, just looking and having conversations with them about their life. They were the epitome of what they could be in that aspect of their self. They reached already the top of the mountain. There was not so much more life experience that could give them. They were essentially enjoying the ride. And so life changed directions for them. And now they're starting back over. And it's almost like they get another chapter. They get another life within the life. Otherwise, they just keep on going as the great person that they were. But they went through the lesson plan very quickly. And that's how I make sense of these beautiful people who got everything taken away from them. And so when I think about 3 tears in this labrum, 3 tears in this labrum, dead nerve that's going down this arm to move these fingers, a dead nerve in this area of my body that prevents this muscle from working, and also what's it called? The latch that holds those tendons broke. And so probably because it wasn't getting blood or feeling, and flat feet and broken ankles and overcompensation in my neck. So if I do anything with my shoulders, I'll pinch nerves. I'll take it. I'll take it and I'll pay attention to other aspects of reality besides competing with other human beings on a physical playing field. Because playing full contact sports, being like a top CrossFit athlete, amazing times. But obviously I'm getting kind of pushed out of that chapter and on to the next. And that's how I relate to it. with my multiple perspectives. I'm about to try something called unconscious healing. People are still talking about trying to get back to where they were. The facies body can be looked upon as a crystalline body. The fascia of the body can be looked upon as a crystalline body. They're superconductors. The meridians lines travel through the fascia. I'm so sorry to be OOT, which I don't know what that means. What is that rock on your ring? It keeps calling me. Is it peridot? Is it moldavite? Or is it something else? This is a good old diamond. It's a raw diamond, 6 carat. You can't really see the inside, but diamonds are actually in nature an octahedron. So a pyramid at the top and then a pyramid on the bottom. 4-sided. That's how diamonds are in nature. And then what we do in the jewelry industry is we cut off the top and we look for the ones that have the clearest, the shiniest, the less impurities, and we rate them, and then we sell them like that. And I was like, well, this one was found in an ocean, and it's got earth inside of it, so it's darker than a regular shiny diamond, and it's raw. It hasn't been cut, it hasn't been polished. It's actually the shininess of it is just how it came from rolling down. This one, the jeweler said, an award-winning jeweler, forget his name, Michael. Anyways, he said that it rolled down a stream, like a river stream from a volcano, rolled down far and then into an ocean, and then it was found in like off the coast of an ocean. There's a lot of diamonds on this planet, guys, like tons of them. A lot of them get used in technology because they pretty much look like this, and they're not pretty enough to go on to rings. Why do people use diamonds on wedding rings? Like is the shininess necessary? For some it is. I think it's really important that if you guys get a ring with a diamond, to make sure that it's a here's the terminology, that it's an earth-made diamond. Because you're going to walk into jewelry stores now and they're going to say, all these diamonds are real, but they're lab grown. So you're looking for earth-grown diamonds as opposed to lab-grown diamonds, because I love minerals and crystals, and it's because the earth made it. The earth is capturing light essence in the crystal and making that. The crystal is a program of light and earth. So make sure that if you guys are going to get a diamond, make sure it's earth grown. It's going to be 4 times the price, maybe 5 times. The lab grown ones are getting cheaper. The earth grown ones are getting more expensive. The earth grown ones are going to keep their value, and actually the earth grown ones will always increase in value. The lab grown ones are always going to decrease in value as the technology gets better and can make them cheaper and better. The value of them is going to go down. They essentially don't have any value. It's just, they're pretty much valueless besides the labor that it took to make them. And so you're never going to be able to get, so like for instance, when we got this, they guaranteed that they would give me 1.25 or 1.3 the cost if I wanted to upgrade. Like tomorrow I could buy it today and like at any point in the future, I will automatically get more money back from what I bought it from. Okay, everybody, hopefully that was helpful to see the perspective of that poem that I showed. And once again, I will be here next week, 12 o'clock Pacific time. I'll see you guys all later. Bring the questions.